now let's move on and talk about design for ergonomics. Okay, so obviously lots of products that people design, people have to use them, so it's important to make sure that they are ergonomically designed, that they'll be safe to use for the general population. Okay, so the mannequin was introduced way back in the wildfire days. Okay, and there's been a few enhancements over the years to the mannequins. Back in Creo 9, big changes had the ability to create our own custom mannequins, so you weren't just limited to the population data sets that came with the mannequin library. Okay, so we had the ability to create our own custom male or female mannequins based on different sizes that we might need to have for specific use cases. In Creo 10, a bunch of enhancements have been added there. So there's a mannequin snapshots now. If you want to create a snapshot to capture the position of your mannequins, we've got two different levels now, either the entire scene or at an individual mannequin level. So nice, gives you a bit more flexibility when working with the different mannequins. Mannequin dragging. So again, in Creo 9, there was a bunch of enhancements made to the mannequin dragging mechanism, introducing the 3D dragger and how that controlled things. In Creo 10, that's been further enhanced. Now we have the ability to essentially use precise dragging. Okay, so we can actually enter in dimensions to get a specific angle, position, length, whatever it might be, for our mannequin movement. I guess related to that as well, now the ability to take measurements between any of the different mannequin joints. So two adjacent mannequin segments, they can measure the angle between them, again, comfort or whatever it might be, related to your mannequin, your person, the piece of equipment. Okay. In terms of the mannequin reach, so we've had the ability to take a point on the mannequin and say, can I reach that? So now we have options with planar surfaces. Okay, so we can have use that plane to help orient the segment of the mannequin that we're working with to help, I guess, better define our reach. Also, with the reach now, there's a few more envelopes added rather than just the general reach of the hand. We've now got some more specific controls. So there's four different or multiple reach envelopes, four different reach envelopes with different colors, as you can see there in the screenshot. So we've got the index finger, the middle finger, the thumb, or the center of the palm. So if there's something specifically you're interested in, like can somebody hit an emergency stop button or something with the palm of their hand, will they be able to reach the operator position? Okay. So we can show those envelopes individually or all together for any mannequin. Okay. One of the really big ones, particularly those who are using mannequin with Windchill, is mannequin library is now provided as separable assemblies. Separable assemblies were introduced back in Creo 8. Don't have them, you should be looking at those. So the ability to essentially take an assembly and sort of stuff it all together into a single file, which will manage as 1.asm. Still has all the separated parts. They can still move and rotate whatever else independently of each other, but you only deal with one file on disk. Or if you're a Windchill user, only one file inside Windchill, which is great. Okay, so now the mannequin library is provided as a separate assembly, so there's only one single assembly file per mannequin. The thousands of different parts to get. So, like I said, for Windchill users, that's a great thing. Obviously, you need to download the new mannequin library, the new Creo 10 mannequin library that's available on the PC. Yes, last one related to ergonomic design is the visual field analysis. So this was introduced in Creo 9. It's a fantastic tool where basically we can define a point somewhere on the mannequin, like an eye point. We identify, in this case, a surface that we're going to look through, like our windscreen, and then we can see basically what might be obscuring or blocking the field of view for the mannequin. 3D surface that we can expand out to length. Okay, so that was introduced back in Creo 9. Now in Creo 10, we have the ability to say that the surface that we're actually interested in is reflective. So, example, a mirror surface, right? So our side mirrors you can see here. So we can say from that point to that mirror surface, what can be seen. So we've got some nice options there. The ability to rotate around that axis. So to simulate, I might be wanting to rotate the mirror around a little bit. rather than have to reposition everything. I can just simulate that inside the analysis to see what I can see. So those who are dealing with, vehicle design, vision cones, operator sight lines, those sorts of things, it's a fantastic addition to the visual field that was introduced back in Creo. So with that, I'll hand you back to Daniel, and he's going to show a little bit of design for ergonomics inside Creo 10. So Daniel.
All right, thank you, Alan. Again, we're going to look at the Hills helicopter. Now, in this instance, we're going to have a look at the mannequin design and some of the new features. So I'm going to go and exclude the helicopter from this and just zoom in on this now. One thing that we have had, if I go to our application, sorry, not applications, we just go straight to mannequin. If I go to mannequin here, we've always had these various scene settings for the global scene. So currently it's on scene 1. I can go to scene 2 and activate scene 2, and we can see that kids are being kids there. Go to the next scene and we can have a look and see, okay, the lady is now pointing to something on the screen, and we can go to scene 2 and show the kids sitting on different seats and so forth. So we can control these scenes, but one of the enhancements that they've brought into mannequin now is we can go and control each individual mannequin and create snapshots for each individual mannequin. Now, before we go and do that, I just want to show you, you can go and say measure, for instance, and I can go to this female mannequin and say, all right, I want to measure the distance between her upper arm and her lower arm, the angle, and I can get the angle like that. I can also first go and select, let's say, her lower leg with her thigh, and then go up to measure angle, and I can get the same thing. It measures the angle. So some nice information that you can quick and easily get through measuring. All right, the next thing that I'd like to show is we can now go and control the position through the reach. So I'm going to go and say, all right, I would like to go and say, take the female mannequin, switch my points on, go and get her index finger, her point there, and I want to point it and place it somewhere on that screen. Now, one of the new enhancements that they've brought in on this is I can now go and say the reach orientation, I want to change the first direction to say gentle and say, all right, look, I would like to twist her arm and put it parallel to that surface there, and you'll see that the position of the arm is increased. Now, one other thing that I'd like to do now is I'd also like to say, all right, I want her to look at, and let's just select her and say I want her to look at a point on the screen. So I'm just going to say select to look at that point on the screen and select that. Now she's looking at that point on the screen. She's pointing at something. I'm now going to create a snapshot for her and say, look, I want to create a new snapshot, and I'm just going to say right click here and say snapshot, and this snapshot I'm going to rename to iPad. So iPad. Okay, and I can now take her back to default. All right, so now that we've looked at that, one other enhancement that's been made is I can now also go and say, all right, look, I want to take her upper arm there, and I want to go and rotate it through a specific dimension. So I can say, let's rotate that with 60 degrees. Okay, it's now rotating her arm through the exact 60 degrees. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom in, and this forearm, I'd like to rotate the forearm again, and I'm going to rotate through about, let's say 89 degrees. Okay, now let's just orientate it so that we can see her hand, because I'm going to take the palm of her hand, and I want to move the palm of her hand in that direction by around 100 millimeters. So I'm just showing you that we can actually manipulate this mannequin precisely just by putting in some dimensions. Now, I can add a dimension again on her thumb here, but in this case, I'm just going to rotate it to more or less that position, okay, and say I'm happy with that position. And I also want to say, all right, I want her to look at that mirror. So I'm going to select her again, look her head, and then I'm going to select and say, all right, I want to go and look. I want her to go and have a look at that point on the review mirror and say, okay. So now I've created another snapshot that I would like to save. Again, I'm just going to go to her, create the new snapshot, and this new snapshot I'm going to rename to mirror, because we may use it at a later point in time. All right, and I'm going to take her back to default. All right, now one other thing that I want to highlight, you'll see that this this male mannequin over here at the moment has got control issues. He is using her collective to control the aircraft. Now, it looks like he's not very comfortable and his shoulder is stretched, so let's go and have a look at the reach envelopes. Now, one of the enhancements that they've brought in Creo 10 now is, yes, we've had the index finger, so we can see the index finger and the reach of the index finger, but we can now also go and see the reach of the thumb, for instance, and we can also now go and see the reach of the palm of the male mannequin. Now we can see it's right on the limit here. That's not the way that we want this. So I'm going to switch that off. He's too far stretched. And just to save time, what I've done is I've gone up to my scene here and I've created the snapshot on the scene where I've just created him using the correct collective and using his yoke. All right, now one other thing that I'd like to just highlight here is if I go and set the mirror screen active, one of the other enhancements that they've now brought in is if we go to applications and we go to, sorry, not applications, analysis, and we go to visual field, okay, we can say, all right, I would like to select this mannequin from that point, and I would like her to look, I can say, I can set it here to look through, but in this case, I want to see the reflection on the review mirror. So I select, just go and select that review mirror, and that surface is not there. Let me just have a look. Okay, so I've noticed that I don't have a surface on that review mirror that I can select at the moment. So I'm just going to cancel that for a second. I'm going to go back to this mirror, activate it, and now I'm going to go and select this top surface, and I'm just going to copy and paste it. Okay, so now I've got a reflective surface that I'm going to use as a reflective surface. I go back to my mannequin, back in the mannequin, go to the analysis again, visual field, and I'm just going to go and set it up again. So I would like her to look at a point on this, but a reflective on that surface, and again immediately it'll show me the reflective cone of what she's looking at the back of the helicopter. Now we can see that the angle is incorrect, so I'm going to go and say, all right, I would like to put on my axes here, and I'm going to select that axis, and I'm going to say rotate it around by, let's say, 10 degrees, and let's just have a look at that. The 10 degrees might be a bit too much, so I'm going to change that to 7 degrees and say that, yep, that 7 degrees looks much better to me, and I can accept that. But in this case, I know that that surface that I've created, I had to rotate that now through 7 degrees, and I'm just going to go and remove this and say cancel that. Or no, not cancel, I'm going to accept that still. And then I'm going to go into my visual field, go into that mirror, activate that, or edit definition that, because I only have to edit definition, give it a rotation, and let's say 9 degrees, and accept that, and then go back to our mannequin model, and our visual field will update with the amount of degrees I see. I haven't updated the degrees enough on the in the mirror. I can again just go and change that, and maybe we have to take that up to 16 and say, yep, that will do. Accept that again, and that's our visual field on the cone of the reflection of the mirror. So some very nice functionality that they've brought into Mannequin in Creo 10.